Here's our offensive MVP, and it may surprise some people. Scott and I both agreed that it was, and we were talking about that on the way out of the stadium. We didn't even have to think about it, really. I mean, I wanted to say Dillon because obviously Dillon triggered the offense, but man, this guy went off for 121 yards in the opening game. I wasn't expecting 121 yards from anybody, but we got it. So, and one touchdown, and that, again, that was the highlight of the game for me. The balance, the ability to bounce off of two guys and spin and keep his balance, keep his feet in bounds, and get all the way and score. It was pretty amazing.
And it could have been, he could have had another touchdown if he would have just gotten his mittens on that diving not catch.
Oh, yeah.
That one in the first quarter. Yeah, on the first play, on the first drive. Yeah.
Yep. And that was just a timing thing. And timing of where his hands were supposed to be when he launched, which, I mean, just thinking about it from a strictly mechanical concept, like it's just like, I don't know how you teach that. You just either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
And in the first game, I think that you'd be hard pressed to find any high performing wide receiver that makes that catch right out of the gate in the first football game of the season. But I guarantee you that Isaiah Nayor is going to have another opportunity for a diving catch again this year, because if Raiola can do anything, if I were to put money on it, he's going to put balls where only his receivers are going to get it.
Yep.
And I think Nayor gets a chance this season to make a really, really highlight level catch, and he'll make up for it. And especially
like maybe a Heisman buzz catch.
No, not like that. But
because when you look at, I don't know if you've seen the TV highlight of that diving attempt at a catch, but that ball literally went right through here.
Yes, it literally was just. He just needed to bring his.
Yep.
He reached his hand out a little bit too far. If he would have just went in for like almost like catching a baby, he would have been a lot better.
Yep, it was pretty amazing. Defensive MVP. We cheated.
Yep.
We gave it to the black shirts because, as I said earlier, there was only two guys that had 5 tackles, and everybody else was less than that. So there was no really standout performance on defense. There was just an outstanding performance by the entire defense. Just to hold anybody to 205 yards of total offense. 27 of the 53 tackles by the defense were by the starting 11. 4.5 tackles for loss, 1 safety, 1 interception. There was a whole lot of Vincent Shavers Jr. on there too. I saw him out there a lot, and that was really cool. He's wearing number 10 now because Jamar Butler's number 1.
Oh, yep.
Makes sense. That was really cool. 28 defenders. As I said, registered at least 1 tackle. There was an interception by a backup, and the 1 sack in the game was by a backup as well. So I was a little disappointed in the pass rush. That's the one thing I would probably say needs some work. But that quarterback was getting the ball out of there fairly quick, and when he couldn't, he was running away and making our guys run. So he did have some athleticism. So there you go. That's the defensive and offensive MVPs. I have no other slides, really, no other information to provide about the game, Scott. Is there anything else regarding the game that just burning through your soul right now that you'd like to talk about? Any other highlights, any things you'd like to see in the future?
I just I know I'm beating a dead horse by saying this, but I know that it was just UTEP. But I can't stress enough how important it was for me to just see complimentary football that at no point did I see ourselves implode. I think Moonbot alluded to it earlier, and I agree with him. I think that we kind of played it a little bit safe on our second drive. We really weren't going for the throat, and it wasn't really all that like Razzmatazz. I guess I could have asked for them to just be a little bit more aggressive on the second drive of the game. But I really don't have too many complaints. Is the first game, I was expecting it to be a lot more sloppy. I was expecting a lot more penalties than we saw. I was expecting, I guess I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting
basically domination.
Yes. The first 20 minutes of the game, it was kind of it was kind of all over the place. That was kind of the negative sense I had. But then I mean, yeah, we had our second, third, and fourth stringers going up against UTEP starters, and it's really hard to kind of gauge like how well our second and third stringers were. It just didn't look terrible. It didn't look terrible. That was nice to see. I guess the only concern I have right now is just the depth at offensive line.
Yeah.
And are we going to be able to sustain a good turnover margin for the rest of the year? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I wasn't too impressed with the way our offensive line looked when we got into our second and third string round of guys. There was a lot more pocket collapses. It just didn't look as good as I would have wanted it to. But at the same time, we already knew going into this season and going into this game that depth at offensive line was going to be something that might be a concern. But just the overall feeling I have is just, okay, we have complimentary football right now. Can we sustain that going into Colorado?
Yeah.
Colorado has the epitome of not complimentary football. They are all offensive performance. That's it. And they rely on the what's the word I'm looking for? They rely on the big play. They rely on the big explosive catch the defense with their pants down and just shock people with just pure talent and raw ability. And then their defense is an absolute dumpster fire. And so when I'm looking at this team playing complimentary football going into Lincoln next week against our very illustrious historical foe, it feels good. It feels good. Because I guess the last 3 times we played Colorado, going into those games, the first 2 were Scott Frost, and I just thought, okay, this is the year. It's our first year. We should have won that game. The second one, we should have won that game. And then last year, it was kind of like we shouldn't have lost that game. It felt like a thin veneer of greatness that Colorado was not that good last year.
No.
And I think our guys bought into the lie that they were just getting their butts kicked by Colorado. And I mean, they were shooting themselves in the foot. There's a lot of context that goes into that game. But going into this year, this is the first year where I really feel like we're going to beat Colorado because we are the better team objectively. And that feels nice.
Absolutely. Chuck, what are you thinking, just to kind of close out your thoughts on yesterday, on the team itself?
The team itself, I thought, like I said, I really was impressed with the way they played on both sides of the ball. And anytime you can get your second and third stringers in there to get them some experience in any game, I think is great, because unfortunately, through the amount of games you play, you can't count out injuries at any given time. So I thought, like I said, the offensive line, the starters played great, but to get the experience from the backups was,
even if they didn't look great, it was good to get them in there.
It was great to get them in there.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is what it looks like when we're not hitting our own guys.
And for me, like I said, I'm from the East Coast. I don't see a lot of Nebraska football, but I do remember a lot of the glory days in the 90s when I was growing up, the national championships and stuff like that. And to actually come to a game, like I said, from PA and see the energy and the electricity and to watch them play, I was impressed. I think you could be in for a good season.
I think you could be right. I'm hoping you're right. So here's the question. If Nebraska were to tee it up right now against James Franklin's Penn State Nittany Lions, who are you picking?
Put me on the spot.
Just based on what you saw yesterday, we saw Penn State play pretty well against West Virginia once the weather was over. They put up fairly similar score. West Virginia is definitely not a group of 5 school, so it would be a little tougher.
I'd say it's close.
I'd
say it's a close game.
Yeah.
I'd have to give it to Penn State, though, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, you have to. You're a fan. You're supposed to do that.
Yeah, I know.
You're supposed to do that.
But it'll be close. It's going to be close. It might be a field goal.
So I'll say this, and I mean this sincerely. I am kind of sentimental when it comes to Penn State because my mom, obviously, our family, or my mom's family, all originates from Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a Penn State fan, loved Penn State. I always cheered for Penn State, unless they were playing against a team that I loved, which turned out to be Nebraska. So other than when they play Nebraska, I cheer for Penn State, just so you know. So can you reciprocate that?
I can reciprocate that.
All right.
I was glad you guys won yesterday.
This was
great.
This was a peace summit that was necessary. And wow, we've got even more people watching us. This is so cool.
And I do agree. I do agree, Moonbot. They need to get Fedoni some different routes. That was not very conducive with what I think Fedoni can do.
I agree too, and I agree that I don't think they showed nearly what they've got for Fedoni.
No. Oh yeah. No, I don't think his meta is running east to west. I think he's very quick. I think he's a very quick tight end, but that's with that asterisk.
I think we saw
he's very
what they
quick for a
knew.
tight end.
I think we saw what they knew Dylan was going to be able to run against a defense like what UTEP has, and it would be successful. It was Coach BA had texted me too earlier today. I hate to call you out, BA, but he had texted or DM'd or something. He says, I don't think we saw even close to the playbook that Dylan can actually run and that these receivers can do. It was pretty basic.
Oh yeah.
So
it was very basic.
This was pretty cool. Anyway, you're being too critical. I think he's talking to you. And he's a coach, so maybe you should listen. I'm kidding. I
think he's talking to Moonbot.
He's talking to Moonbot. There you go. There's a good chance he's talking to Moonbot because Moonbot is Moonbot. So, and we love Moonbot anyway.
He's like me. He's like me. We're just kind of eternally pessimistic.
The Husker PTSD is still active.
Yes,
it's just still active. There's nothing we can do about it. It's just who we are as a fan base. And yesterday was a good start to what we hope will be a season that brings us back to where we should be, which is at least always going to a bowl game. Mm-hmm. And that was just the standard. And for many years, it was 9 wins or more.
Yeah.
Tom Osborne averaged 10 a year. When you got to the end of his tenure, it was 10 wins a year average, a 9-win season. When he couldn't beat Oklahoma for years on end, there was petitions, Devaney had the petition going around saying he should be fired. He says, hell, if it ran across my desk, I'd have signed it too. Then he ended up winning a national title a couple of years ago and brings Tom Osborne in as his offensive coordinator to win those titles. So Tom had a hand, so he knew what good football was. All that to say, I completely forgot about Coach BA's videos. So why don't we do that? Coach BA has sent in some video clips to help break down some of the plays. There's a scoring play on offense that we're going to look at, and then a cool third down stop on a screenplay on defense. So kicking off with this one here. This is, I think, fourth quarter, something.
All right, and this week, the offensive play we're going to break down is one of my favorite plays to call it the goal line. It's going to be goal line power. It's one of my favorite plays. This is the point in the game that we go under center. Hey, and it's fullback time, baby. So just kind of taking a quick look at what they do. Obviously, it's a goal line situation, so they got 5 people walked up here. Got a force defender, got our second-level defenders. But I know a lot of people are not going to know what power looks like, so I'm going to give you a quick explanation, particularly at the goal line, okay? We're going to have basically a wall of people moving left. A wall of people, because we're running power to the right. Sorry, I should have explained that. We're going to be running power to the right. So we're going to have a wall of people moving left. We're going to have a kick-out player who's going to kick out whoever our force defender is. Then we're going to have a wraparound who on most plays is going to be the guard. So as you can see, look, we got the wall of people moving left. We got the fullback doing the kick-out. Then we got Justin Evans coming in here, wrapping around. Fair enough to everybody, right? Just give you a quick little look. Something I want to point out for the viewers at home, if you would like a quick little, just, hey, something to notice on footwork, watch Gabe Irvin's feet here. Because since we have a pulling guard, you got to take this play takes a split second longer to develop. Watch that foot. Watch that right foot. What's it do? It goes backward first. Look at that. Boom, backward first. All that does is create that little stutter step that you need, that little stutter step just to give it time, because you cannot get in front of this guard. If you get in front of the guard, or if you somehow get in front of the fullback, you are absolutely screwed. This play has no shot at working, correct? So we're leaving our force player unblocked in terms of the offensive line here. We're not going to block him. Everyone's going to be going left because we all got to pick up for the missing guard. So obviously, boom, boom, we got to pick up. Everyone's going to be going left. Great kick out. Great kick out. Justin Evans does a pretty good job here finding someone to go block. So that my one critique, I do have one small critique on this play, and I'm nitpicking here. I am very much nitpicking. I understand that. But with Justin Evans getting this block, something I would have loved to see would be to be able to be pushing him out, getting that butt. Because here's how you teach this, because I've coached running backs do this, or just any type of ball carrier. You're obviously going to go inside your kick out, but when you're got a pulling guard, you're following your guard's butt, right? That's what you're trying to do. So how we would like this play to hit would be for him to push outside. We'd like Evans to push this way, but if it doesn't happen, take him whichever way he wants to go. But when you're trying to follow his butt, and his butt's pretty straightforward to the hole, see the hole's right here. I'll point out, we have a great looking power hole right here. That is a great hole to run through. Great hole to run through. But if you can kind of see, by the time that contact gets made, yeah, it kind of does get turned a little bit, but right at the point of attack, it's still pretty even. But Gabe Irvin does a great job at seeing, hey, we got open real estate right here. I'm a great enough athlete. I'm going to pound this baby in. That is what we did. So just kind of look at it again. Remember, Justin Evans is going to be pulling. This is power. Nebraska really likes to run power and counter at the goal line. Power is what looked really good today. So we're going to run it. Boom. Kick out, wrap, go in. I'll play it for you guys in full speed. But I hope you guys enjoyed the Coach BA breakdown on Generation Red. Like I said, these ones are a little bit faster. So if you'd like to go check out more of my stuff, go check it out on the BA Coaches Show. We got more plays coming for you this week.
There you go. That was the offensive play in the fourth quarter that Gabe Irvin, one of them that he scored on, that it looked like he tackled the guard on the way into the end zone from our vantage point. So it was coming right at us. But yeah, I love his breakdowns. Number one, because he dives into the detail that me as a simple little fan would never notice those details. I've always wondered, I've seen the stutter step before from a running back, but I never understood what the purpose was.
Mm-hmm.
Why. So I thought that was really cool to point that out. So thanks, Coach. We really appreciate you doing these videos. And he did tell me they are exclusive to us. He's not putting those plays in for his own breakdowns on his own channel. So right here, Coach B. We appreciate you very much. We got one more. We've got that screenplay on defense that we stopped that I thought was this breakdown is really cool. So here we go.
Welcome, Generation Red fans, to the first edition of BA Breakdown on the Generation Red game recap shows. I am Coach BA, host of the BA Coaches Show, and every single week I will be popping in here to Generation Red every Sunday to give you a film breakdown of two plays, one offensive play, one defensive play. This week, you're going to get a look at two exclusive play breakdowns, ones I will not be doing on my channel whatsoever. This is all Generation Red exclusive. So with that, let's get into it. We're going to start on this one with the first drive of the game. This is the third 3 and out, right? This was very big for us. So let's look at this right away. We got our 4-2. This is kind of what we kind of showed a little bit of. We walked that jack linebacker up. I thought was very good. I got to give Ken some credit here. We got Jamari Butler playing a little bit of jack yesterday. I have to admit, I was expecting him to play more the end slot. So, hey, Ken, I'll give you credit. He played more jack than I thought he was. You were completely right on that. So as you can see real quick, I like to do these in slow motion just to give you guys the full effect before we go and, full speed. We got a little bit of motion here. all that is, that's just bells and whistles. Because if you look, we got our safety coming over, and all that really means is you'll see we got John Bullock kind of showing his eyes here. See, we got his eyes kind of looking. That's all that is. He's just trying to get that away. So here's the coverage kind of shell that we have here, as we see right at the snap. Something we didn't see a ton of last year, but we're seeing a little bit, saw a little bit yesterday. Basically a cover 2. How Nebraska likes to run this cover 2 is, I know you can't see him, but right in here we got, I think it's Tommy Hill playing. Going to play the flats. You got Hartzog basically is going to try and take anything from the hash to the numbers. Got John Bullock taking hash to hash. Then we're going to have Mekhi Bear playing hash to numbers. Then we got outside right here. Then we got safety deep, right? That's kind of how we're playing this right here. But as you can see, we got a screenplay that we did a very good job covering this. This is what I'm happy with this year that I saw yesterday was the situational awareness. Situational awareness. So as you can see, we go through here and look at this. Mekhi recognizes this early. Before that ball's out, Mekhi recognizes what's happening. Look at that change in direction. And I'll just say he better be right on this, because if he's going to be going that full speed and he's not correct, we could be in a lot of trouble. Something I want to point out on this. Nash Hutmacher, baby. Watch Nash Hutmacher. He starts over here on this left side. He recognizes it. He realizes, oh, crap, I'm never going to be let through like this. Why'd they go? So he does a great job. Again, this is situational awareness. This is knowing what you're doing. This is exactly how you teach that. The one thing I also wanted to point out that I kind of had on my notes here was I want to see this. This is attention to detail. Mekhi Bear going to take on this blocker, right? Going to take off this offensive lineman. Watch how he does it. What shoulder did he use? Inside shoulder. That is textbook how you teach you take on that blocker. Keep your outside arm free. This is something you teach to middle school kids, to high school kids, obviously to college. Hell, I've even taught it to younger, like youth football kids when I've coached that as well. Inside shoulder. Keep that outside shoulder free, which he does. And boom, he's right there to make a tackle. Nash Hutmacher also does a great job. And the other thing I also wanted to point out is, yes, we didn't recognize here that it was a screen. But at that point, I do want to point out that if you're the edge rusher in particular, if you don't recognize right away that it's screen, what you're taught to do is, hey, go get your money's worth. Lay a hit on that quarterback, which we very much do. Lay a big hit on the quarterback. We played this. I legitimately think we played this all very well. Very well. So I'm going to play this in full speed for you so you guys can see it. These breakdowns are going to be fairly quicker on these Generation Red. If you guys want a full breakdown for a little bit longer plays, go check out the BA Coaches Show. Sorry, Ken, to plug my stuff a little bit, but I want to show it to you guys. Boom, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. All right, I'll play it one more time for you guys. This was great stuff yesterday. I'm very proud of how the defense played situationally. Boom and boom, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Thanks,
indeed.
Coach.
Coach, that was
Coach.
great stuff, man. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm sure our audience thanks you as well. We really appreciate it. And I know you mentioned it in your video, and please keep doing so. Keep letting everybody know where to find your stuff, and we'll do the same thing. The BA Coaches Show on YouTube. Nobody breaks down football better than he does, except maybe Dr. Rob Zadiska at Doc Talk Sports. He's been doing it a while too, and he played there. He kind of understands how it all works as well. So